All right.
All right. Well, welcome to week 4. So let's see, recap of week 3, 1-3-1. So that puts us at what, 5-9-1 overall.
Mhm.
Um, so Bowen had the lone win last week. He was on the Patriots, although I think that was all due respect, I think that was luck of the spin because
That was the
I'm pretty
spin
sure
blessed
all
me.
3 of us had the
Yeah.
Patriots probably as our top pick.
I
And
mean, I can only imagine the Circa. I didn't see the pick. How they post the weekly picks
yeah,
by everybody in the whole contest. It must have been like 90% Patriots. For
actually
whoever picked on that game. It
that's
couldn't have been
interesting.
anybody on the Jets
Let me see if we can find that. Hold on.
because there's no way anybody bet on Zach Wilson. In the current state that he's playing at, he's
I don't know though. I
atrocious.
will say, and it was, I mean, sure, it was like a lot of like New York people, but I do think that there were a lot of people that still thought that, like the Pats suck. They can steal this, just like with the defense. I mean, even look at last year, right? Against Zach Wilson, took that walk-off punt return that we had, just to avoid, what going to overtime with them, I think. But I do think that there might have been, people that were at least on the Jets money line as underdogs.
I mean, the line did kind of indicate some funky stuff there. I didn't really understand under a field goal there. In a game
Patriots
that's definitely going to be low scoring, so strange. Go ahead, Tristan. Sorry.
top 5 most popular picks last week in the Circa Millions. Patriots -2.5. Lions -3. Uh Commanders +6.5. That was a loser. Titans +3.5, also a loser. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the Bucks +5, which was also a loser. Lions covered, right, against Falcons?
Had to.
Yes.
They
Yeah, they
definitely,
beat
yeah,
him
they had
pretty
to.
bad.
Yeah, they beat them pretty bad.
26-3
So
or something.
yeah,
Ritter's not the guy.
of the top 5 picks, those went top 5 most popular picks. Those went 2 and 3. But Patriots was the most popular.
Had
So
to be.
yeah. I did almost jinx it. I did not realize that the Jets had all 3 timeouts and that there was enough time that with a stop they would get the ball back. And so I had via text declared victory a little too early, and then we had to sweat out that Hail Mary at the end there. So my apologies. Um I'm glad that that did not come back to bite us in the ass. But hand up, that's on me. So Bowen with that pick improved to 2-1. I was on the Titans +2.5. Just a wild performance. Awful. And you know, amazing how badly that pick lost, considering, like, for example, that play that we were making fun of with Watson where he tried to make the throw backwards and it resulted in like an 18-yard loss. And it's like that's what we lost to handily. So the Titans are not what we thought they were. They just got completely embarrassed. The O-line is terrible. Thoughts and prayers to anybody that drafted Derrick Henry. That's awful.
Old and told. Old and told.
I mean, it's like stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. And then the Cowboys. Double depression for me on that one. So that was Kiernan's pick, -12.5 against the Cardinals. I also took them in my survivor pool last week. Obviously, I'm no longer participating in that. But my God, I mean that was stunning.
Yeah.
Been not even sure what to say. And then Sunday night we had the Raiders. Just kind of more of the same anytime. I mean, Kieran, go back to last year. Anytime we back the Raiders, I feel like it's like that's just kind of what we get. It's bullshit like that. The decision making by McDaniels to, opt for the field goal when they're down 8 instead of, trying to get the score there on 4th down and then go for 2. I'm not sure that there's anybody that has been able to support whatever the logic was on that call. frankly, I think he should have been fired instantly. Like that's on the field firing.
Yep. Yeah.
And then Monday night, I mean, that was a huge push. We were gritty with the Rams +3. It was looking grim. I mean, I didn't necessarily think that the Bengals looked all that great. I mean, I thought that the Rams D line was going to get more pressure on Burrow than they actually did. But that being said, like I didn't exactly think that the Bengals offense lit it up. I think the biggest fall off was the Rams offense. They just didn't look like they could really do anything. But fortunate at the end there. They got that late drive. Got that touchdown. So we were able to get the push. So salvaged a 1-3 in 1 week instead of 1-4. But I mean, look, it's like, haven't had a winning week yet. It's go time. We got to piece it together this week and start a run.
Yep. Yep.
Any other thoughts, Kieran? Any thoughts?
No, I'm ready to get into it. I have a pretty short card this week. I only have 3 picks myself and then the 2 primetime games. But I do like these 3 picks a lot. But the rest of the board, I really didn't love.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I went ahead. I added the names back to the wheel. I was thinking maybe with each week we can just add like another set of names. So, for example, for week 4, we each have 4 slices of the pie, and then
I love it.
each week we get 5, 6, etc. So
I love it.
we could start with that. All right, share screen. All right, you see me?
Yep. We're good.
All right.
Easy. Let's get it.
All right, so this is kind of a strategic play from me just because I have talked with Bowen a little bit and I have a sense of where he might be going. So instead of using my pick on that pick, I'm going to use it on another one. I'm going to go with the Saints -3.5. I'm going to go with the Saints. Oh, what did I do? Hold on. I just hit the space button. But so I think that we might have started to see a little bit of the real Baker Mayfield last week. He was starting to crack a little bit. He couldn't handle the pressure from the Eagles defense. And I think that we're going to see a little bit more of the same when it comes to facing the pressure from the Saints defense. The Saints defense, they're on a really good run. I'm not sure exactly. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I think they have like the longest streak since the Patriots in this century for consecutive games allowing less than 21 points or something like that. They're on a really good run of being able to stop teams. Teams that have coming off of a game against Philly are 19-34 against the spread since 2020. I think Philly really beats teams up, and it's tough for teams to recover. Evans versus Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore tends to get the best of that situation. There's a very good chance that Mike Evans gets ejected from that game. Maybe Marshawn Lattimore too, but that's the price that we pay to get that type of receiver out of there. The Saints, they're also, I believe it's I didn't write against the spread or straight up, but I have 8-2 in their last 10 against the Bucks. I think last year they lost twice, but in the Brady years, they actually had pretty good success against them. And, Jameis starting really doesn't scare me. I know that he came in, kind of stunk it up, blew that massive lead last week, but that's a guy that just wasn't expecting to play last week, right? He got thrown into it with Derek Carr's injury. So weeks to prepare. He's a good leader in the locker room. He's a good locker room guy. I think the team can really rally around him on offense. I don't think it'll be too big of a step back. I'm not a massive Derek Carr guy. But yeah, I'm going with the Bucks or with the Saints -3, and they're at home. So I like that as well.
Is Kamara back this week?
This is his first week back. Yes.
First week back. Yeah. And a line's 3.5.
3.5 -3.5.
Okay. I like the pick. It's actually a game like I didn't even really take notice of the game on the board. But as soon as you said it, like my head immediately went to the recent history of these teams. And I think just time and time again, like even when Brady was there, they struggled. Brady struggled, and there's just something about how the Saints match up against that Bucks team. They've clearly got their number. And I think, I think we just continue to ride it. And I like that stat you had in terms of teams coming off a game against the Eagles, and I think I think to your point, the Eagles probably allowed us to see who the Bucks really are and who Mayfield really is. And matched up against the Saints, that could be a real problem for them. So I like the pick.
Yeah, like I said, that pass rush, I think we're going to see a lot of the same stuff that Baker was facing last week, where he's just not going to have time to make any throws. And, Evans was able to make some big plays last week, but I think that Marshawn Lattimore, just based on how we've always seen them match up, should be able to limit that. So it's a big Godwin game. Whatever. I just don't think that Baker will be able to feed them enough to, really make too big of a difference. So, especially coming off the Eagles game and having to go to the Superdome or whatever the hell they call it now. I really like the home team here.
Yeah, at first, kind of like Tristan was saying, I didn't really have any eyes on this spread. Not really that I didn't like it for, either side. Just didn't really catch my eye when I initially looked, and kind of got my favorite 3 or 4 that I had on my board this week, and kind of just went with those. I think Vegas is kind of trying to tell us something, even though the Saints have a, quote unquote backup, even though Jameis is vetted, been around for a long time. That 3.5 number, I think they, I don't think it's a coincidence that line's there. I know they're at home, but Jameis with a week of practice, fully like integrated into that offense. He's been around. He's a big locker room guy. Got to believe in Jameis. Got to love Jameis. And yeah, I like the pick, like you said, Kieran, about the prior history of these matchups. Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan is an absolute monster. I think he could wreak havoc on Baker. We know what Baker is. He's not the guy. He's clearly just a bridge QB for whoever the fuck the Bucks go with next or draft next, whatever the case is. So
yeah, there's still a good chance that we see Trask this year. Like, we shouldn't be so quick to just give Baker the job. I know that he was clearly brought in to be the starter. He still had to prove that in camp, but just because he outplayed Kyle Trask in camp doesn't necessarily mean that he's safe in this starting role. So just because he started off looking pretty good in the first couple of weeks doesn't mean that he can't go back to what we've seen him be in these last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I like the pick. It's a good pick. Very, very stout pick of you.
All right, back to the wheel.
Yes, sir. Okay, what time you fly out tomorrow?
11:10.
Oh, we'll be like there at the same, pretty much the same time.
Yeah, I think I get there like an hour before you guys. So I was just gonna chill out by the probably just chill out, wait for you guys, honestly. Depends on what the 5 a.m. guys end up doing.
Yeah, right.
All right, Bones.
All right. So for this week, Kieran, I know we had had preliminary talks, teased a few things that we may have liked for the card. We had one strong feel on one team.
Yeah, I hope I'm not pressuring you into taking that either.
No, I'm actually I'm gonna go the different route. I actually have a guest appearance tonight on the show. First one of the season, I believe, besides maybe Millie, my dog. So let me just turn my camera
just because I know where you are. This makes me nervous. Oh boy. Oh,
we got Nick Fortini. We have collaborated on this. Pick.
Hey.
Do the thing. Yeah. So we got Nick Fortini on the pod. It is special. I knew I had to do something. That the environment that I'm in right now. Had to bring some fire for Bachelor Weekend. Big weekend for us in the Circa. Need to have a positive week, so bringing some sort of different energy here, I think, is good. With the sluggish start that we got out, gritty, but sluggish. So take it away.
I'd like to start with a little ditty. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. That's right. Toy Story game. Give me the Jags -3.
All right.
Give me the Jags -3. I'll give you a quick little spiel. Get right game for the Jags. Embarrassing loss at home against a division opponent. They get up for London games. Tony Khan loves going to London. Don't trust the Falcons at all. I think the Jags win by at least 10. I love the Jags early in London. Toy Story game, Andy's bedroom. Give me T-Law, Travis Etienne. Calvin Ridley goes stupid. Jags -3.
Lock it in.
Lock that in.
40, I gotta say, I love the pick. It didn't make my top 3, but if I were rounding out the 4 and the 5, that is one of my picks. I love the Jags as well. I agree. They are London's home team.
I was just gonna say, I think the line of the night is they get up for the London games.
The only team in the
They
league.
have to.
The only team in the league.
They love it over there.
Favorites are 25 and 14 against the spread in the London game. The Jags, they're 4 and 5 straight up, but you have to keep in mind they've been pretty dog shit for most of those matchups. So I think they were pulling out like a lot of gutsy wins in those situations. I think they're going to be there for the next 2 weeks, the Jags as well. So
I heard that. I also think like if they're the team who everybody says they are, that's pretty bad loss against the Texans at home. I think this is sort of a must. I don't want to call it a must win, but it's definitely a get the season back on track type of game in their second home stadium against sort of a uninteresting Falcons team that I just simply don't trust.
Yeah, and the Falcons, they put up big numbers at home, then they went to Detroit, and I think they put up like 3 points. So I do worry about them on the road. I was hesitant at first to take the Jags just because I was like, well, maybe that Falcons run game can travel well, but I do think young team, just what we've seen how they play on the road, I don't trust them. I say go with the favorite. I love the pick.
Do it. Jagging off. Hey, thanks for having me, boys.
Perfect. Thank you for coming
Appreciate
on.
the time.
Yeah.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks for the appearance.
That was special.
That was special. All right, we got the Jags -3.
Tristan, what do you think about the game? Just general thoughts.
I think it's a good pick. I mean, I think everything points in that direction. I think, historically, I've always kind of stayed away from like, Thursday games, London games, like, anything kind of out of the US, because to me, it's always just that you don't know how people are going to travel. And, it's like people out of their routine, so to me, it's always just kind of like a stay away, but, I like the pick. I think it's a good pick. Can't argue it. And I sure as shit wouldn't take the other side.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are one of those teams where if they don't get you in their mud fight and, play that defensive battle, kind of grind it out with their running backs and kind of, play that spoiler role almost where you might be expecting whatever team they're playing to come out and move the ball. And, if they get out to a slow start and the Falcons are able to establish any sort of run game, it could get a little dicey, but I feel like the number here is reasonable. They weren't actually on my really for the same reason as you, Tristan. For that 9:30 start time, I don't know if I've ever put a bet in for one of those. I enjoy sleeping in on those Sundays. I never really watched the London games, but I do think Trevor Lawrence even though with the slow start, it happens, and I think not playing in the preseason definitely has something to that. Where that first, a couple of September games are rough. But I do think he's a top 5-ish quarterbacks, definitely going forward for the next couple of years, where he has that upside just to bury a team quick. Especially with the new weapon, Calvin Ridley, the established weapons that he had last year. I think they're able to move the ball, and I don't think Desmond Ridder is the guy at all. And I think that just further shows this week.
I mean, look, Kiernan said it. I mean, they put up 24 against Carolina and 25 against Green Bay, and I think both those games were at home. But even in those 2 wins, I didn't really think the offense looked all that good. I mean, I think we saw really good flashes from Bijan, and Tyler Algier looked good, especially in that first game. But last week, that offense looked awful, and I think you line up these 2 teams, the Jags offense, significantly better talent wise. And the reality is we only need them to win by 3, or 4, I guess, to get the win.
And
so I don't think we're asking that much. And, like I said earlier, you couldn't pay me to take the Falcons. So if that's the case, you might as well take the Jags if I feel that passionately against the Falcons. So,
right. And I think there is something too also where, I mean, the Jags defense has not shown out, at all really this year. I think they've kind of last week was a brutal watch on Red Zone. I didn't catch much of the game, just the game itself. But what I saw was, they just look slow, sluggish, but they've invested a lot in that defense in the draft the past few years. Josh Allen, I think 3 years ago, and really, really talented player. Trayvon Walker was the number one pick. Kind of, maybe not the right pick with Aiden Hutchinson going right after him, and that dude's a problem and game wrecker. But I think that defense is a little bit more than what they've shown so far. And like Forrest said, I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. So, Jags -3.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Forty really just hit the nail on the head when he said if they are the team that we expect them to be, then they need to come out and kind of make a statement with this win. So, I really like the pick. All right, we're ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right. Tristan, you're up.
Okay. So I'm going Eagles -8 against the Commanders.
Mhm.
I think this is probably going to be a pretty popular pick this week. But I look at the Commanders' performance against the Bills last week, and I think they're going to be going up against a very similar defense in the Eagles. That's going to put a ton of pressure on them. The Bills forced 5 turnovers. The Eagles are a fucking wagon. I mean, this, it's going to be hard to convince me that it's not going to come down to them in the 49ers again, in the NFC at the end of the season. And I think the offense looks terrific. They've obviously got something really great going on with DeAndre Swift, explosive in the pass game, got AJ Brown going again last week. Jalen Carter is an absolute terror on the defensive line.
Jordan Davis too. Jordan Davis is a clog in the middle.
Yeah.
He is an absolute. He's quietly, I think, taking a back seat because Jalen Carter's the new toy. The rookie, and he is a little bit more explosive, but Jordan Davis is just as big, just as brutal on an offensive line for his limited snaps that he has. I think he's more of like a platoon guy, but that D line is an absolute problem. Fletcher Cox, All Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Tristan, I just cut you off, but
I just feel like this is to me, this is a game where the Eagles are just going to absolutely overwhelm the Commanders. I think Cream rises to the top in this one, Eagles are at home. I think they're going to want to show out at home, I think they're going to put an absolute beat down on the Commanders. So I like them to cover the 8.
Howell, he's been getting absolutely killed in the pocket. The Eagles, they have that great pass rush. Teams coming off a game where their quarterback gets sacked 7+ times. They are 86, 113, and 5 against the spread.
So not good.
No, it's not a good game for the Commanders to be following up what they just did. So, the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, they have really good records straight up against the spread at home. So I think they're going to come in and beat up on their divisional rival.
I like it.
We have the pick. Sunday night.
All right, let's get back to it. All right, we're still on the wheel, right? All right, here we go. All right, Tristan, start it off.
Back-to-back wheel. I like it.
I'm just gonna pull up the Twitter chat that we had going, because that was I feel like that was where we kind of answered it for me. What was all right? So Kieran, can you explain? Can you break down this thing that you found with the Mahomes loves a good road trip?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I gotta pull it up myself then. Let's see, where's the Yeah, so this is saying when the game is played just anytime, regular season or postseason, Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. He's on the road, and the spread is basically 5.5 or more. So anytime he's like more than a touchdown favorite on the road, where's the record? He's what?
19-0.
Yeah, 19-0.
There's the pick. But just to add a little color to it, the Jets are dead. You know, Taylor Swift apparently is going to be at the game again. I think Kelsey's going to show out. Obviously, it's going to be a big deal, but I mean, I don't see how Zach Wilson survives this game. Like, to me, this has to be Zach Wilson's funeral with the Jets. This has to be the game in which, on a national spotlight, I think the Chiefs are going to make a statement. They're going to win huge. I think that defense is going to embarrass him. And I think heading into week 5, the Jets are going to have to go in a different direction. I don't think it'll be a long-term direction because, I mean, at this point, you know, like, who do they have and what are they going to do with their season? But I don't see a world in which Zach Wilson survives this game. You know, nor is he the quarterback moving forward, starting in week 5. I think it's the Chiefs in a rout. I think they're heading in the right direction. They're trending in the right direction. Everything's coming up Chiefs. So I love them on Sunday night in primetime.
Yeah, so
Taylor Swift also supposed to be there. I feel like they have all the momentum with that as well. They have the big like they basically just got like a huge bump from that as well. So yeah, Mahomes is a big favorite on the road. We talked about that trend. I think them kind of having you know, all the good vibes behind them as well. And then yeah, I mean, it's simply Pat Mahomes versus Zach Wilson. And you know, we know that you know, the Chiefs, they have a nice pass rush. They can get into the backfield. They're going to disrupt Wilson as well. And the Chiefs, they never seem to have like a great defense, but they always seem to have like a fast defense that's full of guys that can make plays. That's the exact type of defense that thrives against Zach Wilson as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up having a big night for themselves, but at the same time, Mahomes should be able to pick them apart. And yeah, I mean, I think 10 points. I feel good about, you know, having to win by 10 or more.
yeah, so this was I mean, as square as it is, this was one of my three or four that I had going into the week. Just in a general sense and just a pure like gambling sense, I'll definitely have something with the Chiefs. I don't really understand the line. I think it, you know, even just seeing like the Niners minus 14 against the Cardinals, and I understand every matchup and everything is different. Um, I feel like the line is a little bit low, but it's just such a smash play here. With it being Sunday night, you know, the NFL ratings the past few. I mean, I don't love bringing up the Taylor Swift shit because it's getting covered everywhere and getting enough pub and you know, on this pod, you know, I don't think all of our people who watch this need to hear any more Taylor Swift you know, any more takes on it. But I do think there is something to this is honestly the best for business is Taylor Swift coming out all these games. Sunday night, I just can't imagine a world where she's not shown 50 times on the screen. Travis Kelce probably gets 2 touchdowns on like one like shovel pass bullshit, and then one like, you know, just vintage Kelce touchdown. I have to believe. And Tristan, like you were saying, they brought in Trevor Siemian this past week. The Jets did. I don't think he's obviously not the long term, but to maybe salvage some semblance of an offense going forward, I could see them plugging him in as just a guy who's been in the league to run a pro offense.
Imagine being a Jets fan, and that's the news you get this week. They've added Trevor Siemian
It sucks.
to the QB. Like, I mean, like I just stopped watching football.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I mean, all the reports of like the internal turmoil in the locker room, the defense is out on Salah, I guess. Per the reports, they're like ready to fucking have a mutiny against the whole coaching staff if Zach Wilson continues to be the quarterback. He might not even make it out of like the first quarter. If he comes out there and just goes 3 and out to start the game, or however that bullshit is going to start, he might throw 3 picks and like, you know, 3 straight possessions. I think Zach Wilson's confidence is.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, I just don't know if we'll be able to get anything that was recorded on my computer now, but I guess we'll have to see.
Oh, I wonder, did you record and save it to the computer or to the cloud?
To the computer. I record on my computer.
Oh, well, hopefully it like Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. If the file like automatically saved or not.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we're down to we got our last pick. It's a Monday night game, right?
Yep.
So just to quickly recap where we're at in terms of the week so far. So Kieran was on Saints -3.5. Bowen's on the Jags -3. I'm on the Eagles -8. We are collectively on the Chiefs -9.5 in the Sunday night game. And that brings us to the Monday night game, which is the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Football Giants. According to Circa, this game is a pick 'em. I don't have the wheel pulled up, so why don't
real quick, if I could.
Yeah.
So I know Kieran had alluded to it earlier at the beginning of the podcast, and again, I don't, I know we have this set thing where it's Sunday night, Monday night. The team that we were discussing earlier in the week was the Niners -14. I just want to, before I go into, what I'm going to say about this Giants Seahawks game, we both love that pick. I think that was number 2, maybe on both of our boards. I really hate the Seahawks Giants game. I think it's the epitome of a toss up. I don't even have a lean on it. Tristan, I don't know how you feel about this game. If you have any strong lean on it, or Kieran, if you have any strong lean on it, but I hate this game. This is like my least favorite type of game to try
I gotta say,
I
think
pick.
we're gonna stick to the format. I think we set the format.
I know.
I feel like we can't abandon it in week 4. We can't give it up already.
No, I know.
Because I think part of the idea was that it brings the randomness to it, right? Like part of why we're doing like this format with like each of us bring our own pick and then doing that too is because we want to avoid those ones where it's kind of group think. We all love this pick. Let's all hop on it.
I knew it was
a lot
dirty.
of times,
I knew it was
if all
dirty
of us
to
love
ask.
a pick, it's a bad thing.
Yep.
So I think we're better off just sticking to it, sticking to the format, trusting the process, and gutting out a pick here.
Kieran sounds like Robert Saleh talking about Zach Wilson.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what are we? We're gonna set a whole format. We're gonna give it up in
week 4.
Yeah.
Embrace Hey, Kieran, embrace debate, right? Embrace debate.
Healthy debate.
Healthy debate. All right. Well, I mean, you asked if I had a strong lean. I mean, I have a strong lean because I have to pick the game. And so I where I am leaning is I like the Seahawks in this game. I think the Giants are in a really bad spot right now. And just kind of looking at the games they've had so far this season, they looked awful. Obviously in week 1 against Dallas, which Dallas is a good football team. I obviously threw up a stinker last week, but a football team. Took an absolute fucking miracle to come back and get the win against Arizona in week 2. And then, they looked like shit again against a wagon of a football team, in the 49ers last week on Thursday night. Now, by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to say that Seattle is on par or on the same level as San Francisco, but I think Seattle's I think they're a competitive football team. I think they're a good football team. I think they've looked good the last couple of weeks. They had a really nice win against Detroit in week 2. Took care of business last week against Carolina. Frankly, I thought Carolina looked like a better football team with Andy Dalton under center.
100%.
And they get a nice 10-point win there. I think they've got a real good thing going in terms of the run game. Establishing that run game with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, the backup, the rookie. So and Gino's got good receivers at his disposal. So I like Seattle in this game. I just don't think the Giants are a good football team. We don't know what's going on with Saquon. It sounds like it's a high ankle sprain and he should be out. I think he's maybe been practicing on a limited basis, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to rush him back yet. Because if they are going to make a run, they do need him for the holidays. So I like Seattle here.
Hold on, I'm getting back in to see if I get back in this meeting if I can
Recording in progress.
All right. All right, we're good, right? You can hear me on the microphone.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
Yep, I'm on the Seahawks as well. I think it just comes down to I think the Giants might just be in that spot that we saw Kirk Cousins in, a couple of years ago. I do think Kirk Cousins has kind of broken that stigma around him. But I just don't think that they're a primetime team. I think that when you see the Giants in primetime, for the time being, you just have to fade them. I mean, kind of like what you were saying, Tristan. That's not to say that the Seahawks are some powerhouse or anything like that, but the spread, they are playing at MetLife, so the pick'em spread does indicate that neutral site Seahawks would be favored there, by at least a couple points. So yeah, I like the Seahawks to come in here and just kind of do some work and find success. I think that the Giants have been very bad against the run. I think that between Walker and even the way that Charbonnet runs, I think that we could see Charbonnet actually get some decent action. But I think that Ken Walker can definitely hit a couple home runs against this defense as well. So I think that they can lean on that run game. We've seen that be a successful strategy against the Giants so far. And then they also have the receivers to take the shots when needed. So I like the Seahawks here.
It's funny, Bowen, before you go, I Googled New York Giants primetime games, and the first article that came up from the New York Post from a day ago, the headline is, "Why are the Giants so bad in primetime TV games?" And it says the Giants primetime TV demons are haunting them now. So,
Yeah, I think it's just for until they prove otherwise, you have to just pick against them, especially in a pick 'em. It just comes down to can they win them, and right now the answer seems to be no. So why not ride that out?
yep.
Yeah, I mean, my reluctancy to really, I mean, not reluctancy, but my lack of lean on this game was really just, I do think pretty highly of both coaches. I really like Dayball a lot. Pete Carroll, obviously great coach. I could see a world where Dayball just comes out and maybe out schemes, that Seahawks team that I feel, that when they have the run game going, uh, they're a really, really potent offense. They can move the ball. But if they don't and they stall out, and maybe Daniel Jones, can put a drive together and get a lead, and they play a little bit more in Dayball's court there. That was my only, real thought in the game was that it's just going to be a really, really tough, close. I'm assuming it's going to be a really close game. The line kind of shows, it's kind of saying that as well. In New York, I just think it's going to be a really, really another gritty Monday night, boys. I think we've had 2 out of the 3 have been. I think 1 week we may have had a stinker for those Monday nights, but I think we've had 2 gritty Monday nights so far this season. I think it's going to be another one. I do like the Seahawks pick. If I was to go first here, or have to be the tiebreaker, it would have been Seahawks. But I just do fear that Dayball, might have a little not chip on his shoulder because I think he knows and he is an established coach in the league. But I think he could scheme up that against that Seahawks offense and give them fits. But again, like you said, the run game was really, really good last week. If that Charbonnet kid can really establish behind Ken Walker, they complement each other really, really well. Ken Walker kind of has that big play, and Charbonnet is just that bruiser who, I mean, he was trucking people last week.
Yeah, you ran a guy over pretty good last
And,
week.
if the Seahawks can go up early and they can keep that run game going and just punish the Giants, who are definitely down to start the season, could see it definitely going the Seahawks way. So
Yeah, I think just had to pick them, gun to my head, we got to pick this game. It just comes down to, at some point the Giants are going to have to break that trend of not being able to perform in the primetime games. But until they do, I just don't feel comfortable picking them. So
yeah.
kind of what they've shown, I mean, how they came out and they played Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys was very startling. And of course, we were on them for that. So yeah, until they prove us wrong, then I think we're just going to continue to ride against them. And if this ends up being that week, then I guess that's too bad for us.
And the Giants, I know they ended up coming back and winning, but they were down 28 nothing in that game, the game that they won. So they really had only 2 good quarters all season, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they really
I
haven't
think
been
they're like
able
the
to put it together.
worst first half team in the league for sure right now. But they also might be, at like a historical pace, how bad they're playing in the first half.
Yep.
All right.
Just to recap quickly, because Bone, you brought it up about gritty Monday nights. So you are correct. Every Monday night has been it's been a grind for us. We had to grind out, battle through the Rogers Achilles injury, and we cashed on the Jets +2. Week 2, we had it in our grasp, and then Deshaun Watson just fucking jumped all over himself. But that was when we had the Browns -2.5 against the Steelers, and then they had the strip sack recovery for a touchdown. Plus, there was a pick six in there, I think.
They started the game with a pick six.
Yeah, started the game with a pick six. And then obviously, you know, we just talked about it at the top of this one, but last Monday night, that was a gritty push with that late touchdown with the Rams +3. We are 0-3 on Sunday night. So we were on the Giants in week 1, not good. We were on the Patriots, obviously got fucked. We think we got fucked, but with the what was it? That play at the end.
Yeah, with the Gesicki when he couldn't reach out and get it.
And then last week, obviously, with the Raiders -2.5. So haven't been good on Sunday night. Hopefully we can break that trend. And fully expect that we'll be in for another. We're gonna have to grind another one out on Monday night. Hopefully it's a situation where we're 4-0 going into it, and we're grinding out a 5-0 week.
Yep.
All right, sounds good.
All right, let's Kieran, did it save the?
I won't know until it doesn't save until the call ends.
Okay, all right. I'll send you what I have.
Yeah, so it'll just load up and then it'll come out onto like a file, and it'll be 3 different things. So there'll be like audio, video, and then something, and just take the video one, and that's all you gotta send me.
Okay.
Or
cool.
or you could just send me the whole folder and I can make sense of it. But
Sounds good.
yeah, just make sure you send that to me like right away, because I'm out of here I'll be at the airport at 9:30 tomorrow. So
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, have a good weekend, boys. Enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys.
All
I'll
right,
see you
see you guys.
tomorrow.
Later. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Travel safe, baby.